questions. So let's start with Arch Bell, followed by Dennis De La Pena, followed by Chris Bills. Arch, go ahead.
Thanks, Will. Hi, Matt. Thanks for speaking with us today. You were part of the Sporting Kansas City team that opened up Livestrong Park back then, now Children's Mercy Park, 10 years ago, with Sporting Kansas City. It was a 0-0 draw with the Chicago Fire. What memories do you have of that game, opening up a new stadium and the emotion, the excitement with that, and balancing that with trying to get a win, trying to get a full 3 points? What are your memories of that day, and how can that experience apply to Saturday's game?
So the similarities for that experience is that that season we started 10 games on the road. So we won our first game. I think we tied our next. Maybe we tied our next 2, and then we lost 7 straight. So at the end of 10 games, we had 5 points. And so comparatively speaking, we're doing much better this time around than my previous experience. So that's positive. We did end up winning the East that year because we got hot in the second half of the season, and we used all those backloaded home games to our advantage. And we really, got on a run. But the game itself, a lot of emotions, a lot of excitement leading up to it. The players, we felt the pressure of opening up a new stadium. We wanted to put in a good performance for ourselves, but most importantly, the fans. We could feel their support leading up to the match, and unfortunately, it didn't work out. I think that game specifically, we were a bit off. I think, if anything, we were too emotional and too excited to play the game, because the touches were just they were a little bit choppy, and it was a disjointed performance. But yeah, all in all, that's all I can remember. It was quite a long time ago. I do remember there was a cow that ran onto the field and actually scored the first ever goal in the stadium. So not sure if that's going to happen. Hopefully there's nobody that is planning on running onto the field, but we'll see, I guess.
Great. Next up is Dennis from Fox.
Yeah, Matt, I don't know if you were at last night's game or not, but even if you weren't, did you get a feel for what Austin can be as a soccer city?
I was not at the game. I was trying to get there, but the kiddos at home, it was a late kickoff, and unfortunately I wasn't able to make it. But a lot of the guys on the team did, and I'll tell you that there was a buzz in the locker room today from all the guys getting to experience the stadium. There was videos going around our group chat from the guys that were there, and it looked incredible. It looked like just a really exciting atmosphere, and it was loud. It was very loud. So those are the 2 takeaways that I had just from seeing the videos. But again, this morning, the guys coming in that attended the game in person, it was just, you could see how excited they were and how impressed they were. And like I said, there was definitely a buzz this morning.
Yeah, and just a quick follow, you've gotten an idea of the fan base, the support just from the road games. Do you, as an athlete, as a veteran, do you feel a little sense of I don't know, it's not pressure, but wanting to gift these fans a W in that home opener?
Absolutely. I'd be lying if I didn't admit that there was pressure, but pressure is a motivator. So, I don't think we should worry if we're feeling a bit of pressure. I feel like we should, because it's a big game and we want to win. So, I think there's been a lot of buildup. It's a great opportunity for us, for sure. It's going to be a great experience for everyone. And hopefully everyone just enjoys the moment, but also, understands the responsibility that we have and the opportunity that we have to put in a good performance and get a win for the fans.
Thanks.
Thank you, Dennis. And next up is Chris Bills with the Striker Texas.
Thanks, Will. Hi, Matt. Um, Arch asked you about the first game in Kansas City, but I mean, you've played in a lot of big venues. You've played, World Cup, and obviously opening that stadium in your hometown had to have been like a really momentous day for you. Have you learned over the years to be able to like take in some of that while you're on the pitch, or is that something that's just you can't really do when you're playing?
I've been fortunate enough to play in some big games and some big moments throughout my career, but each moment's a little different. So, I mean, yes and no. You can prepare yourself as much as possible, but I guess that's the beauty of sports. You never know what's going to happen, and it's different every game. So, um, you know, I'm comfortable. I'm confident in being in this position. But at the same time, I'll be a bit nervous too. Right before kickoff, I'll have some butterflies because it is a new experience for me, and it's one that I'm looking forward to. But in terms of, preparing myself, I would say the biggest thing for us is going to be to control those emotions. They're going to be high. We're going to have a lot of energy. We're going to be aggressive. But the game's 90 minutes long. It's a long game. And, if things, if we score a goal in the first 5 minutes, great. But if we don't, it's okay. We just got to keep going. We got to keep pushing. We have to use the crowd to our advantage, and hopefully we can wear down the opponent.
Yeah, and if I could, just one more. I think like the defense coming into the year, at least in the preseason, was maybe, I don't want to say concerned, but like the biggest question mark that I think some people had. How have you guys sort of gelled as a group? And did you feel a turning point where, okay, these guys are getting this back line is coming together? Do you remember any moments either early in the season or toward the end of preseason?
Not specifically, that was one of the challenges that we had as a group, because we only had a certain amount of time, and it's a new group. And so you have to pick and choose really, what you want to work on. And we just didn't have the time to, focus solely on attacking or solely on defending or set pieces, or what we kind of just had to, put the pieces together early on there. But I do think that we're growing into our roles, both individually and collectively. I think you've seen that on the field. There's been bits and pieces, certain individuals have stepped up and put in really good performances in games. And then there's been glimpses of us playing really well together defensively too. So all in all, I mean, going on the road for the first 8 games, it's tough. It really is. It's not an easy exercise to do. And we knew that it was going to be difficult with the travel. We knew we were going to be under pressure. We knew as a defense, we were going to have to come up and, block shots and make saves and step up in certain moments to help the team stay in games. And I think that showed. I think giving up 9 goals, I believe it is, in the first 8 games, all on the road, there's something to be said about that. And so I think it's a good foundation and something for us to build upon as we get better throughout the season.
Great. Thank you, Chris. We have one more in the queue. That's Zach Smith. Zach, go ahead.
Thank you. Hey, Matt. I guess Josh has talked about kind of adding different elements to your style of play and all that as the season has gone on. And I'm just curious, from your perspective, how has the team changed through that first 8 games, and how are you using this next stretch of games here to continue to, I think, like you said, build that foundation?
Well, I mean, without getting into like specifics, in terms of like tactics and strategy, there's always, certain wrinkles that you can put into the style of play. I think one thing you do as the season wears on is you learn about your team, but you learn about the players that you have. And this season, especially because we're all new players with each other. And so you learn, where certain guys fit on the field, what areas of the field they like to operate in and what their strengths are. And so I think, we have a very small sample size. It's only been 8 games and they've all been on the road as well. And so I think right now is probably at the point where you can take some of those sample size, you can start looking at maybe some trends of guys and how they operate and trying to put them in the best, positions to be successful. So the good thing is I'm a player and I just play. And we have great coaches to look at all that film and to look at that stuff and to come up with those little wrinkles that we can start adding. And the other thing too is, being at home, it's gonna be a different dynamic. I don't think we sat back a ton on the road, but at the same time, we had to absorb pressure. And that's just part of going on the road. We expect it and we hope to be different when we're playing at home. We expect to be on the front foot and we expect to, hopefully pin teams back. So instead of us, getting pinned back, we expect to play higher up on the field. And so the way that we play, might look a little bit different.
Great, thank you. We have 2 more questions to go, so one each, please. First, we'll go to Jorge Chavez and then Eric Goodman. Go ahead, Jorge.
Yes, thanks. My question, I guess, a little follow up on the one that you had just said about playing at home, how it's different. Obviously, once you're home, how has the mentality worked for the players, especially the younger guys like Romagna and Redes, who have basically traveled all 8 games and haven't really experienced playing at home yet? How has the rest of the team helped them kind of adjust to that new kind of phase in their playing careers?
It's something that we've tried to discuss as a team and tried to give guys words of advice and the expectations of what it's going to be like. But until you experience it, it's really hard to put into words. And so there's going to be a little bit of that unknown of we think we have an idea of what it's going to be like, how it's going to feel, but until that first game comes, we really don't know. And that's, part of the exciting, I guess, the exciting part about it. So again, just really looking forward to the moment, the opportunity. It's a big moment in all of our careers to be able to, experience this for the first time. And, the home crowd, it does provide a lot of energy. I don't know exactly what it is about playing at home, but, the records speak for themselves. It's, the home teams always have a better record throughout the season. So hopefully that's the case with us too.
Great, thanks.
Great. Our last question comes from Eric Goodman.
Matt, just wondering, what's the relief of not having to travel for a game for the first time all year? That, and then did you get a chance to do your McConaughey impression for Matthew the other day?
Yeah, I think, the traveling, it's not just the one time, it's the, it builds and it adds up. So, I think we started feeling it, like the 5th or 6th or 7th trip. It was like, God, we got to get on the road again and sleep in the hotel. And, I think you see the effects of it actually on the back end. So we go, we fly, we play the game. And after the game, we have to hop on the airplane and fly back. And most of those trips, especially the West Coast trips with the time change, we weren't getting back to Austin until like 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock, sometimes 4 o'clock in the morning. And, anybody that's traveled like that knows it throws you off a bit, and it takes at least a day or two to recover from that. And so that's something that we had to face. We knew that going in. I think we did a decent job managing all that stuff. And so, yeah, looking forward to not having to do that as much, sleeping in your own bed the night before the game. I think it is an advantage, and hopefully we can take advantage of that. The McConaughey impression, yes, it was brought up. He was at our practice facility for the first time in person yesterday. So it was great to have him around. The guy is, he's a character in a very good way. He has a big presence to him, lots of energy. But yeah, I got a chance to speak with him for a few minutes individually, and I asked him for some acting tips, and he said he was impressed with the video. So that's all I can ask for. I'm happy with that.
Awesome.
Great.
Thanks.
Really appreciate that, Matt, and your time here today. And obviously, best of luck on Saturday. And thank you to all the media members for joining us, and appreciate your coverage. Take care.
Okay,
Everyone.
if I could just say one more thing.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, just to the fans, I did, we wanted to make sure that we acknowledged their support that we felt so far. Every single time that we've gone on the road so far, when we've driven up to the stadium, there's been hundreds of Austin FC fans who have traveled, and we felt that. We felt the love. We appreciate it. And we can't wait to repay all of that effort and all of that support that they've shown us on Saturday night in front of everyone. So looking forward to it. And thank you.
That's great. Fantastic sentiment, Matt. Thank you. Thank you all.